Hey guys, Austin here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at 5-Minute Fantasies Week 7 starting and sitting running backs. So my start of the week is going to be David Johnson. He's going up against a really bad rush defense in the Green Bay Packers. The Houston Texans have two very fast receivers that are going to be really good at stretching the defense longwise, giving David Johnson a lot of room to work in that middle of the field, catching balls out of the backfield, running up the middle, while all the safeties are pulled out of the box up to the back end of the field. Devin Singletary versus the New York Jets. Now, Devin Singletary is a young running back for the Buffalo Bills who has been their best running back over the last couple of seasons. He just hasn't been available a lot. And this season he has been available, and it looks like he's having a slow season. But really, it's that the coaching staff has put a concerted effort to force the ball through Josh Allen's hands. Obviously, the last couple of weeks, Josh Allen hasn't looked quite the same. So expect Devin Singletary to start getting that load back again, especially against the Jets, where I think he's going to get a lot of garbage time yards for a running back, where he's just trying to grind out the clock. Look to start Todd Gurley versus Detroit. Todd Gurley, new look, new franchise down in Atlanta. He's been having a pretty great season, for what we'd normally expect of him. I know 2 or 3 years ago, it was kind of like, is Todd Gurley the best running back since LaDainian Tomlinson? Is he the best running back since Adrian Peterson? Well, that talk is mostly gone. But what's still alive is the fact that Todd Gurley can average about 130 total scrimmage yards a game and maybe about, 0.7 touchdowns a game, which is, it's quite a bit, getting maybe like 12 touchdowns a season. Look for him to have a very fantastic game against Detroit, who is just an abominable defense all around. I mean, I don't think they've had one great performance. Maybe against Arizona, I think they had a relatively good defensive game plan. But otherwise, I mean, Todd Gurley, wrong Atlanta running back. Todd Gurley should be all over the field. Boston Scott for the Philadelphia Eagles against the New York Giants. Boston Scott he's going to be taking the targets that Deshaun Jackson would normally get. He's going to be taking the targets that Zach Ertz would get. He's going to be taking Miles Sanders carries. He's going to be taking Alshon Jeffrey's targets. Everybody's gone on the Philadelphia skills position groups. So look for Boston Scott to sort of just get mass numbers. He might not have great efficiency stats, but fantasy-wise, he'll be doing a lot against another bad defense in the New York Football Giants. And then, Freudian slip, we've got Devonta Freeman, who is now on the Giants, and he'll be going up against Philadelphia. Philadelphia has a better front seven than they do secondary, but Devonta Freeman is also good catching out of the backfield. He can split out wide sometimes, but he'll be getting a lot of the carries that Saquon Barkley would normally be getting. He'll probably be getting about 85% of Saquon's typical workload. So look for him to have another kind of volume game against Philadelphia. And then sit. Craziest sit that I might ever say is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry this week is playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This Pittsburgh Steelers team may have the best running defense I've ever seen in the NFL. Nobody can rush on them. I think Saquon week 1 had 9 yards. I think in the first 5 weeks they hadn't even given up 100 yards total. It's ridiculous stuff. In the first 5 weeks they haven't given up a single 100-yard rusher. So look for him to have a very non-Derrick Henry-esque performance. Mike Davis, who on the Carolina Panthers, he's been a great fill-in for Christian McCaffrey, but he's going up against the New Orleans Saints, who have a very good run defense, not a great pass defense. So I think a lot of the attention is going to be switched to the wide receivers like a Robbie Anderson, a DJ Moore, and a Curtis Samuel. That's why I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to have a good game. I don't expect Mike Davis to. Clyde Edwards-Helaire versus the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos, I think, have the second best run defense in the entire NFL. Now, it's not as good as the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nobody's is. But being second, there's nothing wrong with getting a silver medal. Expect Clyde Edwards-Helaire to have a slow game, especially with Le'Veon Bell getting added in. I think that right now Le'Veon's probably going to get around 30% of the normal attraction that Clyde Edwards-Helaire would get, but that's still enough combined with Denver's defense to detract. I expect Jerick McKinnon, right now the number one running back for the San Francisco 49ers, to have a poor performance against New England. I expect New England to kind of come out and dominate this game. It's going to be surprising because even though San Francisco has not had the great start to the season that they did last year, they've still been a somewhat dominant team over the games that they've won. I think that New England is finally going to get their legs back under them. They had a lot of missing players due to COVID. Expect them to come out and dominate, especially defensively. And then Ezekiel Elliott versus Washington. Washington has a surprisingly good front seven when it comes to stopping the run, rushing the passer, and Ezekiel Elliott has the most fumbles in football, I think, this entire season. It's like 5 or 6, something like that. It's ridiculous. There's only been 6 games. So be careful about starting Ezekiel Elliott. I think that he is prone to have a terrible game right now, especially with the way that the Dallas Cowboys team is kind of in mishaps right now. Thank you for listening, and make sure to watch our other videos this week.